What's happening, Hammers? Dan Lawless here, and it's official. Slaven Bilic is no longer the manager of West Ham United. The club have chosen to part ways with him. They've sacked him, however you want to put it. And, it's disappointing how it's ended, but, as I said in my match reaction to Liverpool, we have no choice. We had no choice, really. That we passed the point of no return where it just looked like, you couldn't see where the next win was going to come from. And it's a shame. It is a real shame it's ended like this, because when we signed him, he's someone I was hoping that could be our manager for the next 10 years, win stuff with, take us to that next level. And at the end of that first season, that last farewell Boleyn season, it looked like that was going to happen. And what a season that was. What a fantastic season. And, I think a lot of people, don't credit Slav with that season. They'll say, oh, look, it was Payet or it was Big Sam's team, whatever. But I saw Slav literally make substitutions that won us games in that season. So you have to give him some credit. And it's almost like we've seen a different man, We saw the fight and the passion. We haven't seen that this season from him. And I don't think he's a bad manager. I wouldn't say he's a bad manager. He's been doing bad at the moment. He's been doing a bad job with us lately, but I don't think he's a bad manager. I think he can go somewhere like the United States job, national team, and do a decent job there. But like I said, I just think it went past the point of no return, and he didn't have an answer of how to fix it. What I don't think has helped is the way the board have treated him, which I think has been a disgrace, to be honest with you. From not backing him in transfer windows, we saw that shambles of a transfer window last season to this season. We signed some decent players, but when it comes to a player that he really wanted in Cavallo, they didn't get it for him. And then for David Sullivan to come out and lie and say that, he just flat out turned down players. They was offering him all these players and he turned it down. I think it is a disgrace that he lied about the whole Cavallo deal, which is poor. Basically, Sullivan threw him under the bus because fans were disappointed that we didn't get this player or any additional player at the end of that window. He threw Slav under the bus so fans could have a point to, he's basically came out and said, well, we offered Slav this player and this player and this player, and he turned them all down. And this is where you very rarely hear Bilic come out and say anything, is he said that's not the case. And this is the thing, this is what they would do. He would say, right, I want Cavallo. And they'd go, oh, how about Renato Sanchez? No, I want Cavallo. Well, how about Jack Wilshere? Do you know what I mean? And then in the end, it's like, well, you get nothing. And then just for Sullivan to throw him under the bus like that was absolutely disgraceful. And I think that's the point where it had broken down to the point of no return. Then the relationship was dead. And at that point, I knew, it was on a limited time frame, because you can't work like that. I mean, he's constantly had to deal with, you got 2 games to save your job. You've got 2 games to save your job. We're going to review this at the end of the season. We're going to review that. No new contract. Knowing that probably he's not going to be here next season, and just the way that they've gone about it, I don't think it's helped at all. So that's one of the reasons why I said he has to go, because they don't back him. It's clear they don't back him. And when you've got a manager that the board don't back, and he knows they don't back him, he can't do his job effectively. So he has to go. So I wish Slav, really every luck for the rest of his career. I wish him all the best, and really hope he goes on to have a successful career. And I hope he comes out and he completely tells it like he is. He's a classy guy, but I think I'd love him to come out and just tell the truth about what went on, because I think the fans deserve to know, because there's been a lot of misinformation been spread out there by the board, because they want to cover their asses. So I'd love for him to just come out and say, this is exactly what happened. But I will say, Slav, he wasn't perfect. He definitely wasn't perfect. He made a lot of mistakes here that really frustrated the fans. The biggest one that sticks out in my mind was playing Antonio right back. I think that cost us a few points that could have potentially seen us finish in the top 4, like 4th or 5th. That cost us a few games. He was determined. In his mind, he saw Antonio as a potential Valencia for Man United. He thought he could turn him into that player, and that was not the time to be experimenting with things like that. That wasn't the time to be experimenting with things like that. You know, you've got pre-seasons and stuff like that, and then maybe early on in the season. But when we're chasing Europe, that's not the time to be pissing around, moving players out of position. Not at all. So, you know, he was playing Antonio there when we had Sam Byram on the bench, which baffled me. You know, it's a lot of players that playing. I mean, Antonio was played bloody everywhere, from right back, right wing back, on the wing, obviously where he should be playing, striker. You know, Chiarti's been moved around. So that was the biggest frustration, is all this playing players out of position and stuff like that. And he was quite stubborn about it. You know, you see it don't work. Why persist in it? So yeah, I think that was one of his biggest flaws. And then not really giving the youth a chance. I mean, he gave it well more of a chance than Big Sam ever did. But you know, you've got like I said, Tony Martinez scoring goals all left, right, and centre, and he put Sacco on the bench ahead of him for Liverpool. You know, you've got to start like giving these young players a chance. And it's not always the case that, oh, well, you have to stick them out on loan for 3-4 seasons, then they'll see if they'll be good. Some of them just need that chance. Like, you know, you've got Rashford and players like that. You just need to stick them in, you know, last 10 minutes, really get them used to the Premier League. But that was frustrating. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, you know, I will never forget that first season, you know, he gave us, first season with him, that first season at the Bowling. I mean, he gave me one of my best memories ever in football. That game against Man United, the last ever game at Upton Park, you know, I'll remember that as long as I live. What a night that was. You know, to come back and win that 3-2 from coming from behind, and the way it happened, it was amazing. And to see his emotion and his reaction to it and how much he cared, and that's the thing. I think he is the manager that we needed after Big Sam, a manager that cared, because we had a manager that treated the fans with such contempt in Big Sam, right? Whatever you want to say about him, right? He treated the fans with contempt. He called us all deluded, you know, and to have a manager that come back and he showed us that love, and he showed us he cared about West Ham United, and he bought into the club. That's what we needed at the time. And, you know, he gave us that great season. So I think now that's run its natural course. Now we go into the next, you know, the next era, or whatever you want to call it. Whoever that may be, you know, at this time, I don't know who it's going to be at the time of recording. It's sounding likely it's David Moyes, which I'm not thrilled about. A lot of fans aren't thrilled about. But if it's just till the end of the season and he's a stopgap, then yeah, like I'll be okay. I'll get behind him 100%. You know, let's do it. Keep us up. But I do not want David Moyes to be a long-term manager of West Ham United. That's not what we should be looking at if we're looking to show ambition. There's also talking about Pardew. Gus Hiddink is someone talked about. That's someone I wouldn't mind taking on a permanent basis. I think he could do a good job. But a lot of the good managers, because this is the thing, they won't pay compensation. And this is what annoys me, right? This is what annoys me about this board, is the fact that they come out and they tell us they're fans of West Ham. They're not West Ham fans. I'm sorry, they're not. If you're a West Ham fan, if any one of us own this club, we would go to the best managers we could possibly get and offer them a good amount of money, pay the compensation, and bring them to West Ham and what's best for the club. We wouldn't be looking at, oh, we're going to save this money. We've got money. And that's what I don't get. And the thing is, you talk about David Gold, right? Yeah, he's a local boy, played for the club, whatever. He may have grown up a fan, but I think, you know, that's been put to one side. I think he's lost that in himself, because I don't care if you've got Sullivan, who is the majority shareholder, but does David Gold, you know, put up any sort of fight? Does he try and influence it in any way, or does he just go with the flow? And it seems like he just goes with the flow. So yeah, I'm not having this, that they're fans. They've shown time and time again, you know, that they're not willing to do what it takes. They're charging the club interest on a loan, you know, on our debt. They paid off our debt. They bought our debt, basically, and charging interest when they could have paid it off with, club profits that they haven't been spending. All the TV money, things like that. But yeah, let's see who they get in. I'll give them a chance to prove me wrong and show that they are fans. But they've got previous. So looking at that, we'll see what happens next. But I would say good luck to Slav. I have a lot of respect for him, and gutted the way it happened. But hopefully he goes somewhere else and does a good job, whether it's in the Premier League, whether it's another league, or whether it's international. Let me know what your thoughts are on Slav. Love to hear what your thoughts are. Do you think he should have been sacked? Do you think he shouldn't have been sacked? Did you like Slav? Didn't you like Slav? Anything like that. And who do you think should be the next West Ham manager? So that was just a little reaction there. Thought I'd, sorry if it went on a bit, but, had a lot to say. Let's see what happens next, and come on you Irons.